I see so many people wandering through life, searching for the secret to success, as if it's a hidden treasure locked away somewhere, waiting for the right key. They read books, attend seminars, watch videos, and listen to every guru they can find, hoping that if they stumble upon just the right answer, life will suddenly change overnight. But here's the truth: there is no secret. Success isn't hidden in some mysterious vault. It doesn't come from luck or magic or a shortcut that only a few privileged people know. The people who are truly successful, the ones who wake up every day with purpose, who build their dreams, who leave a mark on this world, they understand something simple that everyone overlooks. Success is a process. It's built one choice at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. It's not about discovering a secret formula. It's about developing the discipline to do the things that most people want, the courage to face challenges that most would avoid, and the patience to stick with it even when results seem slow or distant. You don't need a secret. You need a plan. You don't need luck. You need responsibility. And you don't need magic. You need consistency. Stop searching for something that doesn't exist and start creating something that does. Today, we're going to talk about how to stop chasing illusions and begin embracing the real work that leads to lasting success. So many people go through life looking for shortcuts, looking for some secret that will suddenly transform their circumstances and allow them to leapfrog over years of effort. They read about the successes of others and assume that those results came from some hidden formula, some magical combination of events that only the chosen few can access. They think if they can just uncover that one secret, that one trick, their life will change overnight. And the truth is, that mindset is exactly why so many people stay stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled. The reality is that success is not a secret. It's a process. It is something that develops gradually, something that is built day by day, choice by choice, and habit by habit. It's not a sudden lightning strike of fortune or luck. It is the outcome of consistent, intentional action over time. To understand this, you have to stop thinking in terms of instant gratification and start thinking in terms of growth, of steady progression, of compounding effort. Just as a tree does not grow to its full height overnight, neither does a person achieve greatness with a single effort. Every great achievement in history, every success story, is a testament to this principle. It may look effortless from the outside, but behind every accomplishment is a long trail of persistent work, repeated actions, learning from mistakes, and the quiet discipline that nobody sees. People like to admire results, to envy the finish line without appreciating the miles of preparation, the early mornings, the late nights, and the countless small steps that led there. But if you begin to understand that success is a process, you begin to see that every small action you take today, no matter how insignificant it seems, is a building block for your future. Success is built on the consistent application of simple principles: showing up, doing the work, improving yourself, and learning along the way. It's not about discovering some hidden secret in a book or a seminar. It's about applying what you already know consistently and persistently until it compounds into results. Most people fail not because they lack knowledge. They fail because they lack follow-through. They search endlessly for the next tip, the next secret, the next shortcut, instead of putting into practice the timeless principles that are available to anyone willing to do the work. Think about it. There are countless books on success, motivation, and personal development. The information is everywhere, freely available if you're willing to look. Yet most people read those books and walk away with nothing because they are looking for the magic words, the secret formula, instead of focusing on taking the first step and then the next. The secret, if there is one, is that there is no secret. The secret is that there is a process, a series of consistent actions that over time deliver results that seem almost magical to the person who hasn't been patient enough to follow them. Take, for example, the person who wants financial freedom. They may think there is a secret investment strategy, some stock tip, or some hidden method that the wealthy are using that is completely inaccessible to them. They chase after every hot tip and every promise of instant wealth. Meanwhile, those who actually achieve financial freedom do not rely on secrets. They rely on a process. They spend time understanding money, learning to save, to invest wisely, to manage risk, and to make decisions that align with long-term goals. They make mistakes along the way, yes, but they learn from those mistakes, adjust, and continue the process. It is the cumulative effect of those deliberate, repeated actions over years that creates wealth, not a single hidden secret. The same principle applies to any area of life, health, relationships, career, personal growth. There is no shortcut, there is no hidden doorway, there is no secret key that unlocks instant success. There is only a process. If you want to be healthier, you don't need a secret diet, you need a consistent routine of eating well, exercising, resting, and learning about your body. If you want to build meaningful relationships, you don't need a secret technique. You need consistent care, communication, and attention to the people in your life. If you want to excel in your career, you don't need a secret method. You need consistent effort, skill development, discipline, and the willingness to take on challenges that stretch you. Understanding that success is a process changes everything because it shifts your focus from chasing illusions to creating results. It allows you to stop comparing your journey to others, to stop looking for shortcuts, and to embrace the steady, patient work that actually moves the needle. It allows you to see that small daily improvements, even if they seem minor, are the real engines of progress. Success is like compound interest in a bank account. Each small action, each choice to do the right thing, to invest in yourself, to take responsibility, adds up over time. At first, the growth is slow, almost imperceptible. But if you stick with it, the momentum builds and eventually the results become undeniable. And here's the thing, once you accept that success is a process, you also accept responsibility. You stop waiting for someone else to hand you the secret or for luck to strike. You stop blaming circumstances or external forces. You begin to understand that your future is the result of your daily actions, your choices, and your commitment to the process. And that realization is empowering because it puts the control back in your hands. You can start today, take the first step, and trust that the process will work if you remain consistent. People often overcomplicate success because they are looking for a shortcut, a secret, or some mysterious formula. But the truth is, it's quite simple. Success comes from clarity of purpose, consistency of action, continual learning, and the discipline to keep going even when it's hard or when results seem slow. It comes from setting goals, breaking them down into actionable steps, taking those steps, evaluating your progress, and adjusting when necessary. It comes from the willingness to show up, to work hard, to learn, and to persevere. There is no magic, only process. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop wasting energy chasing illusions and start building real results. Once you begin to embrace the process, you begin to notice the small victories, the incremental progress, the way that consistent effort begins to compound. You start to see the connection between your daily habits and your long-term outcomes. You stop looking for secrets because you realize that the secret is already in your hands. It is in your daily actions, your choices, and your commitment to doing the work that others are unwilling to do. The people who succeed aren't lucky. They aren't special. They haven't discovered some hidden secret. They simply understand the power of the process, and they apply it consistently. And when you start to think this way, you realize that you don't have to wait for luck, inspiration, or magic. You don't have to wait for someone to hand you the answer. You simply begin. You start taking small steps day after day, learning as you go, adjusting and moving forward. And over time, those small steps become big results. And you look back and realize that what seemed impossible at the beginning has become your reality because you understood and embraced the process that everyone else overlooks. You know, one of the biggest reasons people fail to achieve success is because they don't fully understand or embrace personal responsibility. They want success, they dream about it, they imagine it vividly in their minds, but they are unwilling to own their part in creating it. They want to blame circumstances, they want to blame society, they want to blame their boss, their upbringing, or the economy. They want to blame everything and everyone except themselves. And the truth is that mindset is a trap. It keeps you small, it keeps you dependent, it keeps you waiting for someone else to hand you the keys to a life that you could build with your own two hands. You see, personal responsibility is not just a nice idea, it is the foundation of every success story you've ever heard. If you want to change your life, if you want to move from where you are to where you want to be, you have to take complete ownership of your actions, your choices, and your results. It's not enough to say, I want success. You have to say, I am responsible for making it happen. That means taking a hard look at your life and being honest with yourself about where you are, what you are doing, and what you need to do differently. It means realizing that every result in your life, good or bad, is ultimately a reflection of your decisions, your habits, and your effort. And when you embrace that fully, something remarkable happens. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for luck. You stop waiting for the world to treat you fairly. You realize that your destiny is in your hands and you start acting like it. Many people are comfortable blaming external factors because it feels easier. It's easier to say, I don't have enough time, or I don't have the right education, or I was born into the wrong circumstances, than to say, I need to do something about it. Blaming keeps you small, but responsibility empowers you. Responsibility says, no matter what my circumstances, I can take actions that will move me forward. Responsibility says I can learn what I need to learn. I can build the skills I need to build. I can do the work no matter what others think or do. And that is the key difference between those who succeed and those who merely dream. People who succeed don't wait for the world to hand them opportunities. They create them. They don't rely on luck. They rely on effort, preparation, and the choices they make consistently over time. And every choice they make is informed by the understanding that they are responsible for their own results. Let me tell you something. If you are willing to embrace personal responsibility, it will change the way you think about problems, setbacks, and failures. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to quit, you begin to see them as opportunities to grow. Instead of seeing failure as proof that you can't succeed, you see it as feedback, valuable information that shows you what to do differently next time. Personal responsibility means that when things don't go your way, you don't point fingers. You ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What can I do now to fix this? How can I use this to become stronger? And the more you practice that mindset, the more empowered you become. The more you practice taking responsibility for your life, the less power external circumstances have over you. You stop being a victim of your environment and start being a creator of your reality. And that is the fundamental principle of success. It's not about luck. It's not about talent alone. It's about the willingness to step up, to take responsibility, to do the work, and to keep going even when it's difficult. Consider this. If you are not taking full responsibility for your life, you are giving your power away. Every time you say, it's not my fault, or I can't control that, you are handing your future to someone else, to circumstance, to chance. And when you hand your future away, you are setting yourself up to be at the mercy of forces you cannot control. But when you embrace responsibility, you reclaim that power. You say, I may not control everything that happens to me, but I control how I respond. I control the actions I take. I control my habits, my choices, my effort. And that mindset is what separates the achievers from the dreamers. Personal responsibility also teaches you discipline. You see, when you are truly responsible for your results, you don't wait for motivation, inspiration, or permission. You do what needs to be done because you know the outcome depends on you. You don't wait for someone to hold your hand or push you forward. You take initiative, you make decisions, you act even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, even when it requires sacrifice. That is the power of responsibility. It gives you the freedom to act and the courage to persist, even when the odds seem against you. Many people talk about success as if it were something external that they are waiting to receive. They think, if only this happened, then I could succeed. If only that person gave me an opportunity, then I could achieve my dreams. And yet the truth is, those opportunities will never come to someone who is unwilling to take responsibility for their life. The opportunities always go to the person who is ready, the person who is prepared, the person who is taking action today in spite of any obstacles. That is why personal responsibility is so critical. It positions you to take advantage of opportunities when they arise, because you have been actively building your capacity, your skills, and your mindset. Personal responsibility also fosters resilience. Life is full of setbacks, disappointments, and challenges. It is inevitable. But when you are responsible for your life, you approach these challenges differently. You don't say, "Why me?" You say, "What can I do?" You look for solutions, you take action, you persevere, and every time you overcome a challenge, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable. That compounding strength, that resilience, is what makes long-term success possible. And it all starts with taking ownership of your own actions. Another thing to understand is that personal responsibility is contagious. When you take full ownership of your life, it affects those around you. It sets an example. It inspires others. People are drawn to those who take responsibility because they exude confidence, self-discipline, and integrity. They create environments where success is possible, not by controlling others, but by demonstrating through their own actions what it takes to succeed. And that is another reason why responsibility is the foundation of success. It not only shapes your own results, it shapes your influence, your relationships, and your ability to create opportunities for others. Consider your work, your business, your career. If you are responsible, you show up on time, you follow through on commitments, you take initiative, and you deliver results. You don't for instructions or excuses. You take ownership of your tasks and your responsibilities. And over time, that attitude is noticed. People trust you, leaders rely on you, and opportunities naturally gravitate toward you because you have demonstrated that you can be counted on. And that same principle applies to every area of life, health, finances, relationships, personal development. In every case, the person who takes responsibility is the one who achieves, the one who progresses, the one who grows. The person who blames, procrastinates, or waits for others to act is left behind. You see, responsibility is not punishment. It is freedom. It is the realization that your life is yours to shape and that you have the power to choose your direction. And when you truly embrace that, the world begins to look different. Challenges become opportunities. Mistakes become lessons. Obstacles become stepping stones. Every action, every decision, every choice is an investment in the future you are creating. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you can start taking deliberate action toward the life you want. People often underestimate the power of taking responsibility because it requires courage. It requires humility. It requires the willingness to admit mistakes, to learn, to adjust, and to grow. But the payoff is immense. Responsibility breeds confidence. Responsibility breeds resilience. Responsibility breeds independence. Responsibility gives you the ability to create your own destiny rather than waiting for someone else to determine it for you. And the sooner you embrace that principle, the sooner you step onto the path of true success, the kind that lasts, the kind that fulfills, the kind that is built on your own effort, integrity, and commitment. And remember, taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to do everything perfectly. It doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean you won't face setbacks. It simply means that when you do make mistakes, you own them. When you face challenges, you confront them. When you have an opportunity, you seize it. That mindset, more than anything else, determines whether you will achieve your goals and build the life you desire. And here's the remarkable thing. Once you start taking responsibility, you begin to see patterns in your life that you couldn't see before. You begin to recognize the habits that serve you, the choices that propel you forward, and the behaviors that hold you back. You begin to understand that success is not something that happens to you. It is something you create deliberately and consistently by taking ownership of every aspect of your life. And the people who truly succeed are the ones who internalize this principle. They don't wait for a handout. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for luck or inspiration. They understand that the world doesn't owe them anything, and they stop complaining about what they lack. Instead, they focus on what they can do, what they can learn, and what actions they can take right now, today, to move forward. Responsibility gives you clarity because it forces you to see where you are, to confront the truth about your circumstances, and to decide what must be done. It gives you energy because it replaces excuses with action. It gives you confidence because each choice you make, each step you take, is a demonstration of your own power and agency. And the more you practice personal responsibility, the more natural it becomes, the more automatic it becomes to take control of your life, and the more unstoppable your progress becomes. Responsibility is not just a skill, it is a mindset, a philosophy, and a way of life. And it is the foundation on which all lasting success is built. Without it, no amount of talent, opportunity, or knowledge will carry you far, because you will always be looking outward for solutions instead of looking inward for the power you already have. But when you embrace responsibility fully, you become the architect of your own destiny, the captain of your own ship, the master of your own results. And that, my friends, is the principle that separates those who dream from those who achieve, those who complain from those who conquer, those who drift through life from those who intentionally create the life they desire. And when people think about success, they often want it immediately. They want it yesterday. They look at others who have achieved great things and think, if only I had done that sooner, if only I had discovered that earlier, I could be there by now. And while it's natural to wish for faster results, the truth is that success is not an instant reward. It is the product of time, patience, and consistent effort compounding over months and years. The people who achieve extraordinary results don't rely on luck or shortcuts. They understand and embrace the principle that small actions, repeated over time, accumulate into massive outcomes. Time is your most powerful ally when it comes to building a life of achievement. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you begin and that you continue steadily, day after day, knowing that each effort, each decision, each action adds up. You see, success is not linear. It doesn't happen in a straight, predictable line. Sometimes you work for months and see little visible change. Other times, the results appear suddenly, like the ripening of fruit that has been nurtured over seasons. But the compounding effect of time is always at work, whether you notice it or not. Consider this: a tiny investment of effort today may seem insignificant, almost invisible, but when repeated consistently over time, it grows exponentially. This is true in business, in finances, in personal development, in health, in relationships, almost every area of life. The person who understands this principle knows that patience is not passive, it is active. It is not waiting idly for something to happen. It is persistently doing the right things, learning, improving, and trusting the process. Most people fail because they do not have the patience to allow their efforts to compound. They expect immediate results, and when those results do not materialize, they quit. They give up after a few weeks, a few months, or even a few years, not realizing that the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simply that the successful person kept going long enough for the compounding to take effect. It is the same principle as planting a seed. You do not plant a tree and expect it to provide shade the next day. You water it, you nurture it, you protect it from the elements, and over time it grows. Eventually, it reaches a point where it bears fruit abundantly. The same is true for your efforts, your habits, your choices, and your investments in life. Every positive action, no matter how small, is a seed that grows over time if you tend to it consistently. And patience is the soil in which these seeds take root. Without patience, you will pull up the seed too early, expecting instant results, and wonder why nothing grows. But if you persist, if you continue to nurture your goals, if you consistently invest your time and energy in the right areas, results will begin to multiply. This is the power of compounding, and it works silently, steadily, and predictably. Many people fail to understand this because they focus only on immediate gratification. They want a result now, a breakthrough now, a reward now. They do not appreciate that the true power of success lies in the ability to delay gratification, to work consistently today for rewards that may not appear for months or years. And yet those who master this principle experience a life that feels almost magical to others. What looks like sudden success from the outside is actually the visible result of years of invisible effort. Every great achievement, every remarkable life is built upon countless hours of patient work, learning, and refinement. And here is something that is often overlooked. Time is fair. Time does not discriminate between people. You cannot speed it up and you cannot slow it down. What you can do, however, is make sure that every moment counts. You can invest your time wisely in ways that compound toward the future you desire. You can take small actions consistently, knowing that the cumulative effect will be tremendous. The mistake most people make is to underestimate the power of small, steady efforts. They think that only big, dramatic actions matter, but it is rarely the dramatic one-off efforts that create lasting success. It is the daily, disciplined, patient actions, the small steps taken day after day that accumulate and multiply. This is why routines, habits, and consistency are so critical. Your habits determine the quality of your actions over time. Your habits are the compounding interest on your character, your skills, and your results. If your habits are positive, they accumulate wealth, knowledge, health, and opportunity. If your habits are negative, they accumulate debt, ignorance, illness, and setbacks. And here's the key: because compounding works silently, most people do not see the results immediately. They get discouraged, they give up, and they abandon the process. But those who persist, those who understand that results are inevitable if the process is followed consistently, eventually reach a point where the growth accelerates and progress becomes unmistakable. This is why patience is not optional. It is essential. And patience, combined with persistent action, is one of the most powerful forces you can harness. Another aspect to understand is that time and patience allow for learning and improvement. When you commit to a goal over the long term, you naturally acquire skills, knowledge, and experience along the way. You learn what works and what doesn't. You adjust your approach. You become more effective, more efficient, and more capable. And the beauty of this is that the longer you persist, the more expertise you develop, the more momentum you build, and the faster your results begin to grow. That is the compounding effect in action. Think about your career, for example. No one becomes highly skilled or exceptionally successful overnight. It takes years of practice, learning, making mistakes, and refining techniques. It takes patience and perseverance. But over time, as your knowledge and experience accumulate, opportunities that were once out of reach become available. Your reputation grows, your skills multiply, and your impact expands. And what once seemed impossible becomes your reality. The same principle applies to wealth. No one builds lasting financial success instantly. It takes time, consistent saving, wise investments, disciplined spending, and the patience to allow those resources to grow. The compounding effect of interest, investments, and disciplined choices over years is what transforms modest beginnings into financial security or abundance. And yet, most people fail because they are impatient. They want quick results, get discouraged when progress is slow, and make poor decisions that undo the small gains they could have compounded over time. But if you understand and embrace the principle of compounding, you realize that patience is not passive, it is active, it is deliberate, intentional, and disciplined. It requires a commitment to the process, a willingness to persevere through delays, setbacks, and slow progress, and a belief that the results will come if you continue to invest your time and effort consistently. Another dimension of this principle is that time allows for growth in ways that cannot be rushed. Personal development, wisdom, resilience, and character are all things that accumulate gradually. You cannot force maturity, insight, or experience. They develop as a result of living, learning, and persisting over time. And these qualities in turn amplify your ability to succeed in every other area of life. Time allows you to make mistakes, learn from them, and improve. Patience allows you to stay committed despite those mistakes and to trust that the process will yield results. Together, time and patience create the compounding momentum that separates those who achieve their dreams from those who merely wish for them. You also have to recognize that the compounding of effort is not always visible at first. Often, the work you do today feels unrewarding, unnoticed, or insignificant. You may question whether it is worth it. You may doubt whether you are making progress. But if you remain consistent over time, those small, seemingly invisible actions accumulate, and eventually the results become undeniable. It is like planting seeds in the soil. You water them, you tend them, and for a while you see nothing. Then one day you see a sprout, and over time that sprout grows into a strong tree. And the stronger the tree becomes, the more it multiplies its own impact it shades, it bears fruit, it enriches the soil around it. That is the power of compounding. And the sooner you internalize this principle, the sooner you stop looking for instant fixes or secret formulas and start committing to the long-term process that actually works. The principle of time and patience also teaches humility. It reminds you that results are earned, not demanded. It reminds you that nothing of lasting value is rushed. It teaches you to respect the process, to embrace the journey, and to value the incremental progress that leads to exponential results. And when you understand this, your mindset changes. You no longer feel the need to compare your beginning to someone else's middle. You no longer feel discouraged by slow progress, because you know that every step, no matter how small, is contributing to your future success. You begin to see the invisible gains that others overlook, the knowledge you acquire, the skills you develop, the habits you build, the resilience you cultivate, all of which compound over time into results far beyond what you could achieve in a short, rushed effort. The great achievers in life, the people we admire, all understood this principle. They were patient. They invested their time wisely. They trusted the process. They were consistent, deliberate, and persistent. And eventually, the results became visible. What had been invisible growth for years suddenly manifested as success, achievement, and influence. And that is why time and patience are not just virtues, they are strategies. They are the hidden powers behind every great life, every lasting accomplishment, and every extraordinary achievement. If you learn to respect and utilize them, you will unlock results that others cannot even imagine, because you understand that the slow, steady compounding of effort over time always wins over quick, haphazard action that lacks consistency or patience. And when you embrace this principle fully, you begin to realize that your life is not defined by instant outcomes, but by the cumulative impact of your daily choices, your consistent actions, and your patient persistence.